Hi, my name is Jade. This is a video about project selling principles and sales management. Um, what we're going to be discussing is basically the difference in coaching and skill building concepts in the retail workplace, along with the principles in developing a relationship strategy through interpersonal communication approaches. But that's all in itself. There's also, along with establishing ethics within the foundation for relationships in selling, techniques for dealing with customer concerns and objections, rather, and the fundamentals of training, compensation, and motivation in with sales associates, because obviously that's a big thing. There's also, and last but not least, the presentation for customer contact skills in so many different other ways and situations. So first we're going to discuss the coaching and skill building concepts in the retail environment. There's so many ways of having coaching skills and everything that is needed. I mean, you have to have good communication. If your employees feel as though they can't speak with you, they can't communicate with you, or your managers feel like they can't communicate with their employees or your customers, then where are you going to be? You have to have that good foundation of communication between you and everybody else. So how do you establish that? Honesty. It's simple. If your customers feel like they can trust you, they continue to come back. If your employees feel as though they can trust you as a manager or even as a fellow employee, then obviously they're going to trust you to confide in you with the problems that's going on with work and their options of, or their ideas of how it can be fixed. You also have, if you're a manager, you have to have trust that your employees are going to do their job the way they're supposed to and what you're paying them to do, because otherwise there's time wasted, there's money wasted, and there's no point of doing it. So with that said, we go into the principles of developing a relationship strategy with interpersonal communication. Basically, what this is you have to be able to it all goes back to communication. Being able to communicate with everybody, including yourself, and understanding that just because you feel this way doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right way. And just because this person feels that way doesn't mean that that's also the right way. That's where we go into morals. Morals have a very big deal when it comes to any kind of a business, regardless of what it is. You have to have that moral foundation of, it's a code of conduct. I mean, you do right within the job. You don't steal, you don't lie, you don't cheat the system. If you see someone stealing, you report them. It's all common sense, honestly. There's also techniques for dealing with customers of concerns and objections. There's so many times where a customer will come in and they feel like there's a problem, whether it be something doesn't work the way they think that it should work, and it's your fault for being the employee that works there. You should be able to fix every problem there is. That's not how it works. That's not always the truth. And sometimes people get very irritated with this kind of stuff. They begin to get rowdy and outraged because you're telling them, no, I'm sorry, but I can't do this for you. And a lot of times you have customers who come in on a fair regular basis and they feel like they are entitled for this to happen for them because they're a regular customer. Sometimes there's just no appeasement and there's no happy medium. It's either you can do it or you can't do it. If they do begin to get rowdy or upset, typically that's the point where you need to call a manager in. And if you are acting manager, as a manager, it is your job to diffuse the situation in a correct manner. Don't use the accusal words of you did this and it's your fault. It's more of, I understand where you're coming from, but as my position of manager, either I don't have that authority to make that call, or I just can't do it because of such and such reasons, whether it be corporate won't allow it. That's just how the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Your hands are tied. You may lose that customer, but in the end, it's not worth having a lawsuit put against you or whatever the case, because the situation blew up and you have a ticked off customer that's now, going off the handle on you, your customer, or your other customers, and actually your other employees, just because they're mad and they feel entitled. Now, that's not to say that all customers are like that, because obviously they're not. Not all customers come in expecting that. They expect for something to happen, but if it can't happen, they're okay with that. And you have to know how to deal with all kinds of customers in the retail business. I myself have been in the retail business since 2012. It doesn't sound like a long time, but throughout that time, I have learned so much. I feel like there are many different ways of dealing with different kind of customers. You do have those customers where when you see them you want to go the other way, but I myself, I'm all about customer service and an opportunity within the establishment, whether it be to gain a sale or to gain a new customer, or to gain a higher position in the company that I'm with. And all of this ties into the capabilities of moving up in any company, or just starting your own business, managing your people. You have to know how to deal with people as a whole, whether they be your customers or they be your employees or your fellow managers. Last but not least, well, no, actually we have the fundamentals of training, compensating, and motivating sales. If you don't train somebody correctly, there's so many things that could go wrong. Safety hazards is a big thing. If you don't train them right on the equipment, they could get hurt or hurt somebody else, and that's a very big deal if you've never dealt with that. Typically, loss prevention doesn't care for those kind of things, and rightfully so. You also have the facts of loss of revenue. If it's not done right, then you could be losing money on production, because that's where recalls come in and other problems step in of having to take that product completely off the market, and it could be a great product, but because of one training issue, it dissipates, and where you at? You're having to start from scratch or try to figure out a new idea, try to figure out how to do this, how to do that. It's a loss of time, a loss of money, and it's not worth it to not train the way that needs to be done. We'll step back to the safety hazards. Somebody gets hurt on work. What do? They're going to file a report, and then it's going to go to workers' compensation. You're going to have to compensate for their getting hurt. And if it is your fault as a company for not training them correctly, then you're looking at a huge lawsuit. If it was their fault, one, you have to prove it, and two, it's really not going to matter anyway, because you as a company are responsible for that person unless they sign a waiver saying otherwise. Motivating sales, that's a huge thing. Without sales, you don't hit budget. Without hitting budget, you don't have the hours, or rather the money, to pay for people's hours, which means that's where layoffs come in. That's where people's hours get cut. Their benefits may get cut off because of the loss of money. So you have to motivate sales, come up with something it's very appeasing to the eye. It's catchy. It's one of those things that you double take at looking at, or you give good sales prices. You offer a promotion with it. Say, like, for instance, at my job, if you buy an appliance over $300, then you get free shipping within 75 miles, or you get an extra 10% off, whatever the case. That's a good way of motivating sales. And with any business, there needs to be great presentation of physical appearance and communication and customer contact skills. This means that if you walk into a business and the sales associates are wearing holey clothes or dirty clothes, their hair's a mess, they look like they just rolled out of bed 5 minutes ago and didn't even brush their hair, that you're gonna look at them and think, well, should I even come in here? And maybe physical appearance isn't a big deal to you. Okay, well, maybe it's just one of those days. So you go on in, you take a look at the merchandise, and even though you find what you're looking for, you get up to the register to check out. And first of all, nobody spoke to you when you walked in. Yeah, that's a no-no. And second of all, when you got up to the register, the associate had cocks an attitude and seems just irritated that you're even around them, in their bubble, even close to them. That is horrible customer service. I seriously cannot stress that enough. It is seriously that serious to me. Customer service is the ultimate of ultimates. You can't treat your customers badly because of the fact that word of mouth will kill you in general in any business. It doesn't matter what business it is. It's going to kill you. And people will not come back when they've had a bad experience. And if they do, then they're already, I don't know about this place. It's just like if you go in a restaurant for the first time and you get bad customer service or bad food. Most people don't go back after that first experience or second experience of being like that. That's just how it is. And physical appearance and customer contact skills are a huge deal when you're trying to run your business. It's not going to work if your employees don't look presentable and professional, and they don't sound or act professional. So all in all, I really hope that you've learned something from this video, and I hope to be seeing you soon. Thank you.